Welcome, everybody, to Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hopson of PunchDrunkCritics.com. And on this week's show, you see I got two guests with me here this week. Eddie Pasa from DC Filmdom and Matt Razak from Flixist and Escapist. And we are going to be talking about Moonfall, which is Roland Emmerich's new film. It's his latest disaster film. He hasn't actually made a disaster film in quite a while. Not really. So this will be fun to talk about. And the second film we'll be talking about is Jackass Forever, the first Jackass film since 2010. God, it's crazy that it's been that many years since Jackass 3D. I'm a late boomer to Jackass. Like, I hated the TV show. I hated Wild Boys, hated all that shit. And then one day I was sick and I was at home and I didn't want to look for the remote, and I watched the Jackass movie. And I laughed my ass off. And the second one came on right after it, and I watched that too. And I loved them. Loved them both. And it changed me around in terms of Jackass. I'm a huge fan now. I love the third one too. And we'll talk about Forever in just a few minutes. But I want to bring these guys in. Eddie, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Travis.
Yeah, it's good to have you on, man. I've been doing the show for years. And I don't think I've ever had you on before. And that's an oversight on my part. So it's good to have you on here, man. And Matt, you've been on here before. Sorry guys, I brought him back. Everybody, he's here again. How you doing? How you doing, Matt?
Not Travis, not me. With your complaints.
Yeah. Well, I kid because I love you. You're my buddy, so you know that.
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, man. All right, let's talk Moonfall. So this is, like I said, this is Roland Emmerich's first true disaster movie in a while. He did. Razak, we talked a little bit after the movie. We talked about how he did. God, what was that war movie that he did just before this? We just talked about it.
Yeah, we did.
We already
said the name when we talked about it.
I forgot it. Eddie, do you remember what was the last one he did? The war movie?
That was Midway.
Midway. I should remember. Yeah. Named after is a video game company named Midway. But yeah, so he did Midway, and then he did Independence Resurgence a few years ago too, which I don't really think qualifies. But he hasn't done a true disaster movie in a long time. Now he's kind of coming back to it. This genre used to be like printing money back in the day for him, between Independence Day and the Day After Tomorrow, 2012. You saw the box office for this one is at 10 million, so not off to a very good start. But the movie itself, which has Patrick Wilson and Halle Berry and John Bradley as three people going off to space to try and figure out why the moon has been knocked out of its orbit, threatening all of Earth. Razak, you and I talked about this. Like I said, I did not like this at all. I thought I was going to. I really wanted to, but I was bored in the first half, and the second half, it becomes a different kind of movie than I wanted it to be. Like it becomes a sort of a sci-fi movie, which I was really not that interested in. But there's a ton of exposition dumped on this. I didn't find the characters interesting at all. I thought this was going to be fun. To me, it ended up not being fun. This is, even the Roland Emmerich movies of the past that I didn't really like were stupid fun. I didn't have stupid fun with this. Razak, what did you think about it? Because I think you liked it a little bit more than me.
Yeah, Maybe because I knew the sci-fi slant was coming. Those expectations weren't weighted on it, though. I think having expectations about a Roland Emmerich film might be too many expectations. But yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's also a movie I enjoy. I should probably preface every statement I make about this film with, it's not a good movie. Right. It's not a good movie.
I feel like I talked it down for you after the movie. Like, you liked it more, and then started railing on it, and you liked it less.
Yeah. It's not a good movie. It is messy. The screenplay is awful. I mean, there are some terrible performances, but
there's some really bad performances in here.
There are sometimes movies come out at the right time. And I feel like a big disaster movie is just, it works well enough to be a big disaster movie and land when evidently people don't want a big disaster movie. But for me, it was like, I needed a big disaster movie in a theater. That's what I wanted to see. And it delivered on that aspect.
I think you just said something interesting, though, because we're talking about two movies, and Eddie, you can chime in on this maybe. too, that you just said something interesting, that people don't want a big disaster movie. Do you think they looked at the two movies that came out this week, Jackass Forever and Moonfall, and were like, I'd rather go for the realistic disasters, like watching 50-year-old man nuts, like rather than watch some bullshit disaster? What do you think, Eddie?
I think that I really couldn't tell you why people decided to go for Jackass, other than it's nostalgia. It's watching people our age. Well, I don't know how old you guys are, but at least I'm a couple of years away from 50. We're mortified. We're mortified and curious to see how Johnny Knoxville and company are going to do what they do.
Yeah.
Whereas people familiar with Roland Emmerich's work, he just has a thing about destroying the earth that's, quite frankly, just kind of, it's a buzzkill.
Was that your thoughts when you were watching Moonfall? What did you think of the film?
I thought it was a straight up Independence Day knockoff.
Yeah.
You have the scientist who won't be heard by anybody. You have the cocked and ready, gung ho kind of NASA person. They all go to the moon. They go inside this structure, and they have to do something like blow something up from the inside. It is Independence Day all over again. So, and it's the thing about Roland Emmerich's movies is he does not treat humans as humans. They are fodder. Yeah. And that's one of the things I cannot truck with at all.
Yeah, but then again, that's like American style of disaster movie filmmaking. Humans are as dispensable as the buildings and stuff like that. They get destroyed for the most part. That's what I was thinking about when I was watching it. I was like, I don't really care about any of these people in the movie at all. Like, I don't care. Like there's one, like we talked about the one like somewhat major death that happens in the movie, and I was like, did you really care though? Like did you did you have any reason to care that person died? Like, if they had chosen 3 or 4 different other characters, would you have cared about any of them either? Like, there's only 3 people.
Someone needs to die. And something interesting you say, Eddie, sort of like the mass casualties of these films, but there really aren't mass casualties in these movies, right? It's always, whenever they're like, if you think about it, yes, of course, a million people just die. But it's always pulled back. It's the buildings falling over. It's boats. It's I think it was the Chrysler building flying by, right? So like there's this very like big level distancing from the death toll in Roland Emmerich's films, right? It's almost never like this personal think of the tragedy, except for the cookie cutter characters who we are focusing on, right? That's like the only, right? One guy we see, technically, I think we see one guy, the 2 scientists too. So 3 characters die on screen, but it like for me, it's so pulled out and removed that I never it doesn't even cross my mind.
Doesn't matter,
right? Yeah, it doesn't matter. And I think that's how I can have fun with it.
But part of the thing that bugs me about this Roland Emmerich movie in particular is they try to make you care about the character by putting in these like character flaws, and they try to play them up but they don't do anything with them. Like, you see Patrick Wilson, when you first see him after the prologue, he's got like a bottle of beer or something like that. They try to make him look like this dirty, disheveled alcoholic, and I'm like, what does that matter? Nothing matters about the humans.
All that stuff, and we like Razak, we talked about earlier. When it comes to Patrick Wilson's character in this, he's supposed to be guilt-ridden, but we don't actually see him like be guilt-ridden. Like, we hear people refer to him as guilt-ridden, like there's a whole thing at the end where it's like, I know you still feel guilty about it. It's like, you said that like 2 or 3 times already. Like, we get it. Like, we get it. Like, we get it. He's guilty. Okay. It'd be nice if he actually expressed it like during the movie, really, but he doesn't really do that. So there's no reason for us to care about that. Like,
nothing is expressed during this movie. I mean, nothing. Like, there's no actual character building or emotions functioning in this film.
Why was Halle Berry in this? Can someone answer? Because her character was as bland as can be. I don't understand why she was even. They could have got anybody to do this.
Yeah,
to do that role. Why be her?
I mean, why would
that's a question for the ages, man.
Yeah,
that's a question for the ages.
Wilson is there. Patrick Wilson is bland white everyman for all this kind of stuff. You know, like he's exactly the character he plays in Little Children. Like this guy who probably used to be a football player, looks like he's a great hero guy, but he's really just kind of weak, really, you know? And he plays this guy in every single movie he's in, even in movies like this. He's just this sort of bland white guy, and that's just who he is. He's effective at it, but he never brings anything that makes you like, yeah, I'm really, really backing this guy right here. Like, no one says that about Patrick Wilson.
I'm so excited about Patrick Wilson
now. You know, until you just mentioned him, I totally forgot he was even in Aquaman.
Exactly.
He's totally playing in there too.
Exactly. Like the best things he's ever done are like the Conjuring movies, and that's you know, those give him a character to actually, you know, run with. But you know, like even his character in Watchmen, his character is sort of, you know, bland white guy. You know, he's not. That's kind of that character's thing. So it's just
it's perfect.
Patrick Wilson, man. And the thing is, I actually like him. Like I'm sitting there shitting on him. I actually like him. I think he's perfectly fine in the stuff that he does. But I'm never like, yeah, I'm really rooting for Patrick Wilson in this.
Yeah. His name doesn't get emblazoned across the top of a movie, right? No one at home is going, Patrick Wilson, I gotta go out and see the next Patrick Wilson film, right? And I'm sure he does deliver good performances, right? It's tough. Like he's a good actor, he can do things, but he's not.
This movie needed Gerard Butler, weirdly enough.
Yes. Yeah. I could totally see Gerard Butler doing so much better in this movie.
Gerard Butler would have been great for this.
Wow.
Surprised Gerard Butler movie. He's probably too busy. I think they're shooting Den of Thieves 2 right now, so he probably is too busy. But you know, the way we were talking about how Roland Emmerich kind of like glosses over like the big picture, the number of people who die in these things. Gerard Butler had the perfect blueprint with Greenland like a year ago, which was like this great movie that really focused on the details of what would happen if something like remarkable like this were to actually go down. That movie did a great job, and this movie just kind of like, you know, it's Emmerich. He just cares about how the destruction looks, and that's about it. Which it didn't look that good for half the film. So.
Some of it did look good, but most of it was the one thing I said in my review at Gunaxon was there's a difference between character development and character establishment. Roland Emmerich does character establishment in that they're there. We don't give two shits about them. Yeah. They're just there. So, and they're totally backseat to the visual effects. Some of which were just bad. In the early goings, you see this green screen shot of Patrick Wilson where he's supposed to be standing outside his house, and it's so obvious he's not anywhere outside.
I thought every time that, like the whole time they were like at the base preparing for launch, it looked awful. Like it looked like they were on like behind the screen, and I was just like, yeah, this looks really shitty right here. And I think that was like the midway point of the movie. And it's like the second half of the movie, I think, is where they're like, okay, we got this far, now we can start spending some money on the effects now. Right now we can start spending some money again.
Definite uptick in quality.
It's possible they shot this entire film on like four corners of a single studio, right? They just had the three sets and a green screen set up and shot the entire thing like would just pan the camera. All right, we're doing this one. Like they didn't need to go. It's a big budget movie, but like it felt like because of all the green screen and all that, it felt like they a small budget effort in terms of like shooting aside from the CGI.
$146 million it cost, independently financed. It was interesting too. So I think this is a Lionsgate movie, so they don't actually have to. Unfortunately, they didn't have to like pony up a whole bunch of money for it. So, but yeah, this one's not looking good for Emmerich, and And like I said, he hasn't really been doing a whole lot of these. He's been doing other things, Midway and stuff like that. One of the things I thought was interesting about this was that it also kind of combines his love of conspiracy theory, because conspiracy, you know, he did that whole movie Anonymous, which was about, you know, the conspiracy theory that William Shakespeare doesn't exist and he didn't write a damn thing. He loves to like mix in conspiracy theories in his movies, and a lot of people don't pick up on it. This one like really brought in kind of the hollow moon theory that's been out there for a long time. So I think Emmerich is probably a fan of that conspiracy theory. But he didn't really do anything that was interesting with it to me, in my opinion. And it seems like now this movie wanted to try and kind of set up a sequel. Doesn't look like we're going to get one though, does it?
No,
probably not. Unless it's the dramatic sequel I wanted about a closeted nerd scientist who suddenly obtains the power of a god and takes over takes over the world, right? I want that like focused sequel where it's just him and like a real psychological analysis of his like downfall from goodness.
I could see like if this was 20 years ago and this movie came out and it did this badly, I could see like one of those straight to DVD sequels that would come out. It's a brand like the Skulls 2.
Yeah.
Or something like that came out straight to DVD.
Oh my god.
You know?
Yeah, like Poison Ivy 2.
Yeah. Right, Poison Ivy. You know, what was the other one with Christian Bale? What was that? Murder? Killer. When he's Patrick Bateman.
American Psycho.
American Psycho 2 had a sequel that came out straight to DVD, and it was so yeah, I could see like a Moonfall sequel that would go straight to DVD.
Yeah.
If it goes the Tremors trajectory, where like they make like 6 films about this,
right.
I don't know.
All right, so that is Moonfall. 2 out of 3 of us definitely do not recommend it. Razak says, "Run and go see it right now." He absolutely loves it.
I don't know those are my exact words.
I'm kidding. He does not say that, but he does like it. All right, let's move on to the next movie. And we already brought it up a little bit, and that is Jackass Forever. Now, Razak, I know you didn't see this, but I'm sure you've seen a Jackass movie, so
yeah.
So you probably don't. You already know what happens in it. Somebody shoots themselves. You see a lot of penis. You see somebody gets punched in the nuts. You know, a fat guy falls funny. These are the things that happen in Jackass movies. And then Jackass Forever. Eddie, you got stuff falling behind you, man.
Yep.
Jackass Forever. So this is 12 years since the last movie. These guys are pushing middle age now, which I think adds a little bit of danger to it, in my opinion. I was watching it a little bit more anxious for these guys than I was in the previous films. I was actually worried whether or not they were going to survive. Although I knew they did, because they've been on WWE TV for the last few weeks. Knoxville was just in the Royal Rumble. He got his ass whooped, of course. He took a bunch of finishing moves, of course. It happens. So that was fun. But, this one also tries to sort of pass the torch to got a handful of newbies that are in there as well, along with the older guys. Eddie, what did you think about this? Because I watched it and I really did like it the way I liked the other ones. Although I'd be lying if I said I see a lot of potential in the new guys. So what did you think?
I don't know if this franchise can go any further with the new guys, because Jackass to me is that core bunch: Knoxville, Preston Lacey, Wee Man, Pontius, Steve-O, Danger Aaron, Dave England, those guys. That's Jackass to me. What these guys, I loved what they did. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think Rachel Wolfson went hard. She held her own.
The Scorpion?
The Scorpion, holy crap.
There's a thing she does, Razak, where she lets a scorpion bite all over her, or sting her all over her face.
Yeah.
Although I wish they would have let us see like the result. Like, we didn't really get to see if like there was like any serious puffing that happened after that. But go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah. But what I got more out of it was these guys were excited to be alongside the new crew was excited to be alongside the old crew, but I don't think they have. Well, first off, they don't have the history that we have as fans,
and that's
with that's a big part of it. And second, it doesn't feel the same way. Like that, what Poopies was having fun, Jasper was having fun, but there was whereas the camaraderie between the core cast, it wasn't there with the newcomers.
Right, I can see that. There's a lot.
If they want,
No, go ahead.
Yeah. If they want to make this, make further movies with this new cast, we're gonna have to get to know them a whole lot more.
Yeah, that was the thing that was tough for me, is I wasn't feeling anything for the new guys. They just don't have. Look, it's hard to have the kind of outsized personality that Knoxville has. Like, he brings that to no matter anything he does, for the most part. Even something shitty like The Last Stand, he's still got charisma, even when he's in stuff that sucks. But these new kids, I wasn't really seeing it, and I felt like their stunts were a little bit tame as well. The big guy, I think his name is Zach, who looks like they're trying to groom to be the next Preston Lacey, because Preston looked rough. Preston looked rough.
He looked like he'd lost a little bit of weight too.
Yeah, he looked like he lost some weight, but I'm not so sure that was. I don't know. He didn't look healthy to me.
A healthy loss of weight.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, but he didn't look good either. But then again, they showed him without his shirt on. He's covered in bruises everywhere. So, and those are probably permanent bruises from all the stuff he's done. But they just don't have the kind of personality that I think Jackass needs. It's not simply enough to have people go out there and get stung by bees or take a fastball to the groin. You'll think it's funny because of who these people are, and that's why it's funny. And I do think ultimately these Jackass movies, especially this one, are about their friendship. You couldn't just do this with anybody. Like, I love you, Razak.
Mm-hmm.
If you asked me to come and do this, I wouldn't do that.
No, I don't think that would be very entertaining.
I wouldn't go. So, but there is something to their friendship about this, and I wasn't feeling the friendship from the new people. And they tried to do like a thing after the movie where they like talk to the new kids and kind of got you in on their personality. I left. I wasn't that interested.
Well, you missed the Ryan Dunn kind of memorial that they tagged onto the end of it.
I figured they did like a tribute thing to him or something. Mm-hmm. I know they did like a little thing at the very end of the movie, but
yeah,
it's what's your favorite stunt out of the group though? Because they did a lot. They brought back some classics as well, but and some new stuff. What was your favorite of the bunch?
Of the new film, honestly, for personal reasons, because I'm a hockey fan, seeing PK Subban take a shot directly at Danger Aaron's nuts, that was fantastic. I was like, holy crap, that's PK. They got PK Subban. That's great. Right. So, yeah.
And that was like an 86 mile per hour slap shot or something. Then he took something ridiculous right to the groin. It was just that's awful.
Yeah.
But that was the cup test is my favorite too. They did that back in the day as well. They kind of changed it a little bit, but they brought that back. I loved watching the MMA guy, the hardest recorded puncher in his punching him. That's like getting hit by a Mack truck. That's how hard he hits. Was that the one where his dick started bleeding, or was that what was?
No, that was the pogo test. That was Dave England.
Right, he did the cup test right back, and
the pogo test.
Last part of it was one of the guys got on a pogo stick and bounced and did it on. Yeah, I know, but he didn't really get the nuts. He got the shaft, and it was bleeding afterwards, and it was like you could see it bleeding through his underwear, and it was like, ooh.
How did any of them manage to procreate? How does it function down there?
Do we know that they have some?
I know Knoxville's got kids.
Yeah, Knoxville.
I think Pontius has kids too, but
Knoxville doesn't take a whole lot of shots to the groin, though. Not like this.
He gives them, yeah.
But he doesn't usually take them.
Travis, I was. I guess I'm even more like you used to be, like Jackass. I've seen the 3 movies and like stuff from the TV show, but Jackass, the TV show, never appealed to me in any way. But like you were saying, from the 3 movies, it is that, and the episodes I've seen, it is that friendship that makes Jackass work, right? The feeling of the TV show was always like MTV gave these guys a camcorder and let them make a show, right? Right. And I do wonder, and you guys can speak to this since you've seen the 4th one, like the impact YouTube has had, because pranks and stunts and things like that are all over the place and readily available, right? That the kind of culture, stunt culture, or whatever they established is now be made by anyone, right? Not that it should be. Don't do this at home. It says that in big letters, right? But like, so did you guys feel that, and maybe that was part of what contributed to this new cast not feeling special, right? Because that friendship wasn't there. So then they're just doing stunts. Did you guys feel that, you know, the expansion of that kind of home video via YouTube kind of changed how you viewed the movie?
Eddie, I don't know about you, but I felt that I had seen this stuff before, and maybe it's because I have seen people and I think there's something to what you just said, because the new people, when they were talking about them, a lot of them had been, you know, filming stuff on YouTube and TikTok and things like that. It's where they kind of, you know, gained a little bit of notoriety in order to do this stuff. So maybe there is something to that. There's something to the fact that this, you know, it's not so special anymore to see these guys do that. And the thing that really makes them unique is that bond between Knoxville and Pontius and all these guys who've been doing it for so long. The thing that made Jackass work for me from that, when I first finally got over myself and started watching it, because I sure as hell felt superior to the people who used to watch it on like MTV for sure, because it was such an idiot thing. I was like, I would never watch that. But the thing that really got me was that it was like me and my friends hanging out, and, you know, like one of us would just like hit you in the balls, you know, like, and it was like an expansion of that. It's like those kinds of friends, and everybody has those kinds of friends. I had those kinds of friends too. We would just do stupid stuff like that, hurt each other a little bit and laugh about it and kind of move on. It was like an expansion of that. And Jackass took that and made something bigger out of it. And they've been doing it for 20 years. And now seeing this kind of new crew come in that doesn't have that same bond. And it just feels like they've just been doing stunts just to kind of do them. It doesn't really have that same effect for me. And I still love the movie. I still laughed an awful lot. But I think I agree with you, Eddie, that I'm not so sure I want to see more if it's not going to be the regular crew.
Yeah, because the new crew is, the stunts are different. Like you said, they're tamer. They're more in control. Whereas the stunts that made the Jackass crew made their bones with, they're basically making live action cartoon versions of what they've seen growing up, like the Merry Melodies, Tom and Jerry, Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. They're doing that. And there's a magic to them trying and failing at doing it that this new crew just didn't have.
Yeah. So Moonfall, look, I think we're all, the two of us are like, okay, don't go see it. Razak is kind of like, yeah, go see it. It's stupid. Jackass, me and Eddie, I think we both can recommend it if you're a fan of Jackass. I don't know if there's anybody who's not already a fan who's going to be like, I really want to go see Jackass right now. But I think if you already love Jackass, you should probably go and check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. But that's it for the show, man. I want to thank Eddie. I want to thank Matt for coming on here to talk about these two movies with me. We'll have to do it again soon. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks, Eddie. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, sir. It's nice to see you guys.
You too, man. Razak, it's good to see you again, my friend.
Of course, anytime.
All right, and I'm Travis Hopson. You can find me every day at punchdrunkcritics.com. You can find me on social media at punchycritic. And you can find Punch Drunk Critics at PDC Movies. Be sure to follow us on YouTube as well, and to follow Cinema Royale wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'll see you again next week. Bye.
Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.